Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Network. I'm outside the courtroom here in New York where a judge has made an initial ruling on the primary lawsuit. The judge essentially kicked the ball down the road, basically saying that the lawyers who filed the lawsuit, that the goal was to allow Democratic voters who were registered as Democrats but randomly purged, and their party affiliation was changed to independents, Republicans. Basically said that the lawyers had to get all the counties of New York. I don't know the exact number, but there's over 60 counters. The lawyers would have to get over 60 counties into the courtroom within 20 minutes to be defendants, because it's you can't just sue the state of New York. You have to votes go on a county by county basis. So the judge basically made a very unrealistic request, asking that all of New York's counties be represented as defendants in the case. The lawyers, the motion was not dismissed immediately. So basically, the lawyers for the case, they're probably going to have to get additional lawyers, now have to get representatives from each of New York's counties into a courtroom at a later date to defend if and why there have been voter purges, meaning registered Democrats were switched to independents, Republicans, or not affiliated. The judge also said people today do have a remedy. You can go and get a court order from a judge that allows you to vote. That's obviously not realistic for most people who are, running during their lunch break or after work or between taking their kids to soccer games, to literally go down to a courtroom and, talk in front of a judge to state your case. I actually have a gentleman here who did just that, so I'm going to flip the camera to him right now. His name, hold on, that's still me. All right, his name is Anthony DeVincenzo. And Anthony, you told me about your case, and it goes back all the way to October. So can you tell the audience what happened with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I have been trying to be active in this election cycle. I learned that 10/9/2015 was the last day to register, or change your party affiliation, rather, if you were previously registered. So I did so on 10/9. Then we kind of saw the debacle that was the Arizona primary, and some friends were like, hey man, check your stuff out. Some things might have changed. So I went and did that. I actually here have a screenshot. This was taken after the Arizona primary, still with not enrolled in any party. So that set off the chain of events. I started to call up the Suffolk County Board of Elections. I called the Suffolk County Democratic Committee. I called my local representative, Lee Zeldin. They all told me the same thing. I had to come down here today on primary day, call the BOE, get a hearing scheduled, and come down. So
you had to call the Board of Elections and get a hearing.
Yep.
To do what?
To basically plead my case in front of a judge and ask permission to have my application for participation accepted or granted. So I did bring the confirmation email. You can see here that at looks like 2:34 p.m. on October 9th that I did submit this via DMV.
But the problem is most people who might have changed party affiliation in October or signed up for the first time as Democrats probably didn't assume that they were going to have to save evidence of doing so. So if you delete your emails, you don't print it out that you filed, and then when you go to a judge, you don't have any proof because you didn't save it. You were smart about it and saved it. You said there are other people there doing the same thing?
Yeah, I actually, I was in there for about 4 hours. So I would say I saw about 30 people get processed, and, I wouldn't cut it like 50-50 or anything like that. It was definitely, if you had some information to share, if you were able to show that you were going through the motions or put your best foot forward, the judge was granting the application to vote. But if you were walking in there and it was really like, oh, I'm asking for permission, or I thought it was March 25th, but it's supposed to be October 9th. They were going by the letter of the law. But if you do have a legitimate case, let's say you did this and somehow your registration is changed, or anything like that, if you really do believe that you were supposed to be able to vote in this primary, please call the BOE, schedule a hearing, and come down here.
Call the Board of Elections is the BOE. Now, majority of people don't have time to come down to a courtroom.
Not. I mean, let me show you this. So this is a letter that I got from the Board of Elections. I believe I received this on April 7th. This is letting me know that they did not receive my my submission for party change until the 13th, which is interesting because when I call, they tell me the 14th. Either way, it's 2 or 3 business days after the submission of an electronic communication. So there's really no excuse for it to take that long for an email to be forwarded from Albany down here to Suffolk County. And then, without getting into the whole thing, I actually showed you the Spanish so I could read both. The interesting thing about this is it doesn't say anywhere here that you can come down here for a hearing. So, in my opinion, I think they're trying to deter people from taking these actions, fully knowing that you can come down here. If you're a disenfranchised voter, you can come down here and fight for your right to vote.
So basically, you have it there that the judge essentially kicked the can way down the road. She ruled that today's election day, it's really too late to do much. She gave the lawyers she required a very unrealistic task for the lawyers, which would be to get in 20 minutes representatives from every county in all of New York State down to the courtroom, because they too need to be named as defendants, not just the New York State Board of Elections. Interesting note that the New York Board of Elections essentially said this is not our responsibility, it's the county level that screwed up. And the Board of Election representative from New York who was there also said that all these cases of Democrats who were registered Democrats that got switched over to independent, Republican, were, quote, voter error, saying that people maybe changed their registration and didn't remember it. People might have forgotten on a DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles form, to fill out the box, which political party you are. Obviously, thousands of people didn't screw up. So there's something either bureaucratically incompetent going on or something more. But again, as much as people want to think that this is targeted towards Bernie Sanders, there definitely is all this kind of stuff goes across ages. It's not just young people that are more likely to vote for Bernie. There's been a lot of older people. Brooklyn had a lot of problems this morning of registered Democrats that went down and couldn't vote, and they're told they're not Democrats. It's different ages, so we don't want to just make it seem like this is specific to Hillary Clinton. Definitely both sides, both age demographics. One obviously is more likely to vote for Clinton, one for Bernie, are being affected. And the judge essentially said, the judge didn't dismiss the motion. So why that's important is the fact that she is making the lawyers for the case present more information. There will be a court hearing later on. And that means that the election results could be contested, technically. The lawyers for the case urged those people who truly, genuinely believe that they are registered Democrats, who truly believe that they were moved off of Democrats incorrectly, as to independents, to Republicans, to aliens, whatever it is, to go down and vote in provisional ballots, using provisional ballots. Even if you're not sure they'll be counted, do it anyway, because if by a long shot the judge in a subsequent hearing rules in their favor, then those provisional ballots will be counted. So no immediate gratification today, but if you are a voter, or if you think you were purged, if you know you were registered as a Democrat and you were changed without your consent, you were being urged by the attorneys who filed this case to go down and vote by provisional ballot. They are urging you not, if you're a registered independent Republican who wants to vote, if there's been no error and you just want to vote, they are not encouraging you to do that, because New York is a closed primary. Only those who truly believe that their votes were purged from Democrat to other. This has been Jordan with TYT, and I got to get going because I got to head to the city for the primary results. Thanks for watching.